The Kingdom of My Divine Will in the Midst of Creatures. Book of Heaven, Volume 35, Part 2. August 29th, 1937. How God wants to see his life in the soul who lives in his will and reaches the point of making himself her model. Gifts which God gives to the creature. The space of the human will. Divine chamber for the marvels of God. My flight in the divine volition continues. Its attractions and its charming manners become more insistent. Its yearning to live in the soul is such that it assumes the attitude now of prayer, now of supplication, now of promise, to the extent of promising new gifts to the creature, more beautiful and unexpected, as long as she lets it rain. Only the ungrateful could resist so many attentions. But while my mind was crowded by so many supplications and sighs of the divine Fiat, my sweet Jesus, my dear life, repeating his short little visit, all goodness, as though wanting to pour out his love, told me, "Blessed daughter of my will, if you knew into what a maze of love we are put by those who do not live in our will. I can say that for each act they do, for each word, thought, heartbeat, and breath, in which we don't see the life of our will flowing, our love remains repressed. It feels a sorrow. It bursts into tears. It moans and sighs because it does not find its life, its act, its heartbeat, its word, and the sanctity of our intelligence in the creature. Seeing itself left out, as though cast aside from inside the creature, and from everything she does, it feels its love being extinguished, its arms being tied, and it feels it cannot carry out its crafting within her. My daughter, what sorrow! Being able to give life, and not giving it. Being able to speak in the human word, and being reduced to silence, because the creature gives it no place within her word. Being able to love with our love in her heart, and finding no place in which to put it. Oh, how our love remains hampered, almost with no life, for one who does not live in our will. Now, you must know that when the soul does an act in our divine will, God makes himself her model, and the act becomes the material necessary to receive the divine model. So, our more than paternal goodness is all attentive to see everything that the soul living in our will does. As she is about to think, speak, or operate, so does it seal within her the model of its wisdom, the model of its creative word, and the sanctity of its works. Our love is so great that we want to make ourselves life of her life, heartbeat of her heart, love of her love. Our delirium of love is such that we want to make the facsimiles of us, and only with one who lives in our will can we obtain our intent, nor would we lack the material adaptable to receiving our model. After this he added with emphasis even stronger, "My daughter, our love is so great that we do nothing other than give continuous gifts to the creature. The first gift was the whole creation. Then came the creation of man. How many gifts did we not give to him? Gifts of intelligence, in which we placed the model, the mirror of our sacrosanct Trinity. The eyes, the hearing, the speech were all gifts that we gave to him. And not only did we give him the gifts, but we also assumed our preserving and creating role in order to keep these gifts, while remaining in act of always giving them. Our love in donating our gifts is such that we do not detach ourselves from the gift we give, but we remain inside the gift we have given, in order to keep it more safe and secure. Oh, how exuberant is our love! How it binds us everywhere! And while it makes us give, it does not leave the gifts at the mercy of the creature, because she would not have the virtue to preserve them. Therefore, we offer ourselves to keep them, and in order to love the creature more, we place ourselves in act of giving them continuously. And how much more should I tell you, my daughter, of the great gift we gave to the creature in creating the human will in him? Just as we created the space first, and then the sky, the stars, the sun, the air, the wind, and so forth, so that the space was to serve us to be able to create our other works. To create them and to have nowhere to put them would not be a work worthy of our wisdom. In the same way, by creating the human will, we created the space, the place, in which to put the great gift of our most holy will that we gave to man. This space was to serve our operating will, which was to place in it more extensive heavens and more refulgent suns, and not just once, but as many times as it would operate. Therefore, while creation was to serve man, this space of the human will was to serve his God, for him to form his delights, to be able to always operate, and form his own resting place, his throne, his divine chamber. I gave to man this gift. I formed the space within him, in order to have the place in which to converse with him, and be one-on-one with him in sweet company. I wanted to have my secret room. My love wanted to tell him many things, but I wanted the apartment in which to talk to him, and in which my love could reach the extent of giving itself prey to man, and man prey to God. This is why I love so much that he live in our will, because I want what I created to be only for myself. I demand my resting place, my throne, my divine chamber. Hence, until man comes back into my divine will, and gives me my royal place inside his will, I cannot accomplish the creation. We have so many more beautiful things to do inside our space of the human will, so many more things to say, but we can neither do them nor say them, because, not finding our will, we find our space cluttered. Therefore, we have no place in which to put our works, and if we want to speak, he will not understand us, nor will he have the hearing to listen to us. This is why we will make unheard of prodigies, in order to reacquire what is ours. our space, and our divine room. You pray and suffer, so that I may have back what is mine, and never deny me the space of your human will, so that my love may pour itself out, and my works may resume the work of creation. Fiat. September 6, 1937. Purpose of creation. Speaking and operating life of God in the creature. God's Word, the divine will. How one who does his own will gambles away the divine. I am in the arms of the divine volition, which loves me so much that it does not want me to move down from its more than paternal arms, to keep me and raise me as it wants and pleases. And if it hears me say that I love it, oh, how it celebrates, and forms the seas of its love around me, which repeat to me in each instant, I love you, I love you. And my sweet Jesus, visiting my little soul, and finding me in the arms of his will, all happy, said to me, my blessed daughter, how I love finding you always fully abandoned in these arms. Your destiny is assured. You will live on our same food. We will have common goods. You must know that the one purpose for which we created the creation was precisely this. Creation was to serve as the dwelling for man, and man was to serve as our dwelling. We wanted to form as many of our lives for as many creatures as we would deliver to daylight. Each of them was to possess our life, but a speaking and operating life, since we cannot be anywhere without saying anything or without operating. If we did so, it would be like forming as many prisons for us, which would impose on us silence and uselessness. Our Supreme Being speaks and operates. The Word calls for the work, and the work manifests who we are, forming such beatitudes and joys as to make us happy, as well as all those who live together with us. Therefore, each word and work of ours is a new joy and happiness that we create for ourselves. This is why we want to form in man our speaking and operating life, because we were to form such wonders of our divine being as to create new and ever more beautiful creations. We wanted to display and unfold what we can do and know how to do, along with the new joys and happinesses. And where would we do all this? Inside our dwelling, man. But would you like to know what our word is? It is our will. Our will is the operator of our works, the narrator of our divine being, the bearer and keeper of our life in the creature. Without it, we do not move from our throne, nor do we form life in any dwelling. See the great necessity to possess our divine will and to live in it, because with it we can do anything. We can issue our most beautiful works, maintain our purpose and force, form from our being as many lives as we want. Without our will, everything is hampered. Our love and our power are hindered. our works halted. One could say that we remain as a god, mute for the creatures. What ingratitude! What a crime to reduce us to silence! And while we wanted to honor them with our life in them, as the dwelling of our delights and wonders, they have rejected us, not giving us the freedom to form it. And in our place, they gave residence to passions, to sin, and to the ugliest vices. Poor man, without our will, without divine purpose, it would be as if he wanted to live without breath, without heartbeat, without blood circulation, which are the foundations of the human life. What life could he ever have? Wouldn't that be like killing himself on the spot? Such would be our life in the creature, with no breath, no heartbeat, no motion, and no word. It would be a tormenting, oppressive life, which would end up dying. It is true that with our power and immensity, we envelop everyone. We are present in all and everywhere. But lacking our divine volition within themselves, they never hear us speak. They understand nothing of our Supreme Being. They live within our immensity because no one can escape from us. But they don't feel they are our children, but rather strangers to us. What sorrow, having so many things to say and remaining silent, having the power to work who knows how many wonders, and not being able to do them because our will does not reign in them. Yet our love is so great that it does not stop. We are all eyes to watch whoever wants to live in our will, all ears to listen to whoever calls it to live within them, all love to lean our great love upon the little love of the creature. And as soon as we see her disposed, we form our speaking life, and we narrate to her the story of our will, the long story of our eternal love, how much we love her, and are longing to be loved. In fact, you must know that when we love and do not find anyone who loves us, our love does not know where to lean in order to be loved in return. And so it wanders, it raves, it agonizes. And if it finds not even a little I love you from a creature on which to lean, it withdraws back into ourselves, where we have our center of love. But it does so with such pain as to be incomprehensible to the created mind. The pains of unrequited love are unspeakable. They surpass all other pains. We want to always give. We are in continuous act of giving, but we want to find her will, willing to receive, a desire, a sigh, forming the space, the little shelves on which we can place our will and what we want to give and do. These desires and sighs are like ears that listen to us, eyes that look at us, hearts that love us, minds that comprehend us. And if we do not find these little shelves, cannot give her anything, and she remains blind, deaf, mute, and without a heart. Therefore, our will is put to flight, and it comes back to take shelter in our celestial regions. Then I continued to think about the divine will. I felt completely invested by it, and I prayed my dear Jesus to help me and keep me locked inside his heart, that I might live and know nothing other than his divine will. And he, coming back, continued, "My daughter, all the good of the creature is tied to my divine will. If she unties herself from it, all her goods are ended. You must know that every single time she does her human will, she gambles away the divine with all its goods. Hence, she loses all that is beautiful, all that is holy and good. This is an incalculable loss. The poor creature is thrown into the most squalid misery. She loses the rights to all goods, and she is invested by such unhappiness that gives her no peace. And even if it seems that she has something good, it is apparent, and it ends up torturing her completely. On the other hand, each time she decides with total firmness to do my divine will, she gambles away the human will, the miseries, the passions. She loses all evils, the miserable rags, the filthy clothes that the human will had formed for her. What a happy loss! To lose evils and misery is glory, it is victory, it is honor. But to lose the goods is cowardice and dishonor. See then, if the creature wants it, she can recover from the great loss of my will that she suffered by doing her own. More so, since she will have the help of our power, of our love, and of our will itself. By acquiring again the rights to all goods, all will defend her, in order for her to recover from the lost game. Fiat. September 12th, 1937. How these truths are the greatest gift that God gives to us. Divine birth. Longing and yearning to see us as possessors of his gifts. His word is an outpouring of love. The great good of an act done in the divine will. My poor mind is as though besieged by the divine will. It wants to speak so much about the truths that belong to it that I cannot contain them, because my capacity is too small. So I am forced to say, "Enough for now, Jesus. You want to say so many things, but I am incapable of retaining them. I won't be able to say them all, and much less write them as you want." And my sweet Jesus, compassionating my littleness, all tenderness, told me, "My little daughter of my will, do not fear. Your littleness remains dissolved inside my will. You are not the one who has to manifest its truths, but my will itself will take on the commitment of becoming the narrator of what it wants to make known. Therefore, it will invest your mind. It will make itself word upon your lips, and it will make itself known for who it really is. Surely you cannot do it by yourself, but as long as you place your will into ours, we will arrange everything, and we will make known what we want to say. You must know that when we want to do some good to the creatures, or reveal a truth, which is the greatest good we can give to them, because by speaking it, we make of it a gift for her, First, we mature it within the womb of our divinity. Then, when we can no longer contain it, because our love is such that it wants to see that gift being possessed by the creatures, to the point of making us restless and delirious, and to causing us to languish, because it wants to see that good transmitted to them, we find ourselves in the painful conditions of a poor mother, who, having formed her baby, feels herself dying, if she does not deliver him unto daylight. We cannot die. But if we do not deliver to the light the good that we want to give as a birth from us, our love reaches such excesses that if creatures could see it, they would comprehend how much a God can love, and into what constraints they put us when they do not receive the good we want to give them. Therefore, when we find one who does receive it, we confirm the gift, we make feast, and we feel victorious for the good we have given her. And this, because after even just one creature has received it, this birth from us, delivered with so much love, by itself will make its way, will go around through all creatures, and by its generative virtue, it will regenerate many other births, filling the whole world. And we will have the great glory of seeing heaven and earth filled with our gift, with our goods, and whoever wants to receive it, being the possessor of it. Everywhere we will feel the loving voices, the notes of our speaking love, requiting our constrained love, for we could not deliver this birth from us, had we not found at least one creature willing to receive it. For us, doing good is a passion. Giving is the continuous delirium of our love. And in finding one who receives it, we feel our life and our rest in that gift. Therefore we love so much the first one who disposes herself to receive this birth from us, that we trust her. We make her our secretary. And she, feeling so loved by us, makes the commitment to love us for all. And oh, what a contest begins between she and us. You must know that each word of ours is an outpouring of love that we make with the creature. So every word spoken on our divine will is an outpouring of love that we have already done. And receiving refreshment from this outpouring, we have continued to speak, to form the chain of our outpourings of love. In fact, it was a repressed love that we kept within us. And if you knew what this, our outpouring of love, means, and the good it produces, our outpouring of love fills heaven and earth, invests all. It is balm over the pains. It becomes daylight in the night of guilt, converting sinners, straightening those who are limping in good, strengthening the good. In sum, there is no good that a word of ours cannot do, containing our outpouring of love. Therefore, letting us speak is the greatest good that can be done for the creatures. And our love being requited, and giving divine life to the creatures, is the greatest glory we can receive. What can one word of ours not do? It can do anything. And it can be said that whoever is disposed to listen to it gives life to our word. In fact, We never speak if we don't find one who wants to listen to us. Therefore, the one who does listen to us loves us so much that we feel as if she wanted to give us life in the midst of creatures, and we give her our life at her disposal. So be attentive on listening to us. Let us pour out our love, because many times, when we have no one with whom to pour out our love, these outpourings convert justly into justice. Jesus kept silent. Who can say what remained inside my mind? I don't have the words to say it. Therefore I stop here, and I abandon myself in the arms of Jesus to rest together with him, who loves me so much and wants to be loved in return, and who gives me the whole of himself to be loved back as he loves me. Then I continued my round in creation to trace the acts done by the divine volition, make them my own, and be able to love him back the way he loved me. And as I reached the blue vault, I thought to myself, this sky serves as a vault for the residents of the earth, and as a pavement for the celestial residents. So, since it serves everyone, all have the duty to adore he who with so much love has created this celestial vault to give it to us. Therefore I called all the angels, the saints, and all the inhabitants of the earth to be with me, so that all together we might requite our Creator in love, in adoration, glory, and thanksgiving. For he loved us so much that he gave us this sky. In the divine will, I called and embraced everyone, and as if all were one, they loved together with me. Sweet Jesus felt loved and wounded by so many voices, and with unspeakable love told me, my daughter, the power of one act in my will is such as to seem unbelievable. As you were calling everyone, I felt loved by all. And since you have a will free and capable of acquiring merit, as you emitted your act, my will unleashed from itself a greater love, glory, and happiness, by which all felt invested. The angels and the saints feel a greater glory and happiness, and feel even more loved by God, while the earth receives more aids and graces, according to their dispositions. All the acts done in my will receive this great good, because my will belongs to all, and all have a right to that act. And since it is an act from a pilgrim soul, who gains the merit of every good she does, that merit becomes a common merit, and therefore common joy, love, and glory. If you knew what it means to be loved more by God, and the joys and the glory that a God can give, oh, how much more attentive you would be. The angels and the saints who know this long for your call in order to have this great good. And when you don't call them, with zeal they say, she's not calling us today. So while you are on earth, your merit runs to heaven to give new love and new happiness to the celestial residents. Oh, how I wish that all knew what it means to operate in my will. In fact, knowledge is like the appetite, which makes one desire and enjoy the food that one eats. But without appetite, One feels aversion toward that same food and does not enjoy it. Such is the knowledge. It is the bearer of my gifts, of the good I want to give to creatures, and it is the confirmation of possession. Moreover, knowledge generates esteem and appreciation for my truths, and only then do I speak, when I know that my words are loved, listened to, and appreciated. Even more, when I see, esteem, and love, I feel attracted by my same love to manifest more truths. But if I don't see it, I remain silent, and I feel the pain of my repressed love. You will not do this to me, will you? Fiat. You have reached the end of the Book of Heaven, Volume 35, Part 2. Fiat.